Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is December the 25th, 2023. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. I got to start off with saying a Merry Christmas to all those who celebrate. Happy holidays. I know I generally don't do the run through. I just kind of do the vanilla Merry Christmas. But if you had what is it? Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever it was, it's December. Hopefully it was a good one. Hopefully you're wrapping up this year very merry and bright. As for me, I've been really good. I feel like I'm making the naughty list. I feel like I'm feeling good. Or not the naughty list. Oh my gosh, did I just out myself? Is that a Freudian slip? I feel like I made the nice list. I feel like I'm good. And speaking of good, I want to talk about my food corner. It was a good one. So last week I kind of had resolved to make an Indian dish. I just knew I wanted to make something, but I was like half in, half out on it, and I had got the curry sauce I needed, and I didn't get any of the other ingredients. I was at the checkout and kind of realized it, and I'm like, fuck it, it doesn't matter. But I resolved to do it. I was gonna do it. So I came to the conclusion that I wanted to make a lamb curry with rice situation. So that's what we did. We made it happen. And it was so good. It was my first time cooking lamb, and I got a pleasant surprise because I just went ahead and just did a pan sear situation. Just kind of cooked it like a steak, and I didn't realize it, but in the chops, I guess there was marrow in the bones, and it kind of popped out, and I'm like, oh, what's this? What's going on here? And my lizard brain was just like, you can eat this. So I just ate it. And I was like, oh yeah, this is marrow. This is pretty yummy. So yeah, it was good. It was my first time trying it, at least in my memory. So yeah, overall the dish went over really well. It was kind of funny because I guess it's how heavy the lamb is. It was kind of nice to eat through all the lamb, which was a lot of it for just me. But the rice and the naan and the curry was just all so good that I was like, yeah, this is so great. So yeah, that was probably one of my top 5 dishes that I've made for myself. Just in terms of I've never made it before. I thought about it, I could do it, and I did it, and I felt really good. I know it's really simple and maybe not the prettiest meal I've ever made, but whatever. Who cares? I liked it. And that's what it's about. Let's see here. Is there really anything else to gawk over? No, we can kind of just do our startup, get into some news coverage. Da, 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 da. But yeah, hopefully you're having a really good Christmas if you're listening to this on Christmas Day. Hopefully, you're with your family or your friends. And if not, hopefully you're doing well. I know that this is a really kind of not so fun time for people. I know for me, I have my moments and my ways where I'm like, yeah, this sucks. This doesn't feel good. But it's also kind of part of the reason why I do like to get on here and do an episode, because maybe you're a listener who is out there by yourself, and I want you to know you're not alone. You're out, there's someone out here in the internet airwaves that is thinking about you, caring about you right now. So there you go, there's that. So yeah, let's do a little startup. Let's get ready, and then we will get into it. Oh my. Oh yeah. I'm gonna double dip the chip. Okay. Ooh wee. From CNN, demonstrators try to storm Belgrade City Hall in protest against stolen Serbian elections. Thousands gathered in Belgrade on Sunday in an anti-government protest to demand an annulment of Serbia's general election last week that was deemed unjust by international observers. Protesters attempted to gain access to the city assembly in Belgrade using flagpoles and rocks to break the windows of the building, but were repelled by police using riot shields and tear gas. CNN's Serbian affiliate N1 reported. At least 35 people were arrested, according to N1, in what was the sixth straight day of protest since the parliamentary and local elections. The ruling Serbian Progressive Party, or SNS, won 47% of the votes after President Aleksandar Vucic called a snap election, cementing his decade-long grip on power and the Balkan nation that is seeking membership of the European Union while retaining close ties to Russia. An international monitoring mission said the elections were held under unjust conditions, citing media bias, Vucic's improper influence, and intimidation and pressures on voters, including cases of vote buying. There's also situations of people getting bussed around and things like that to like different voting stations, ballot stuffing, things of that nature. So it's definitely not a good look. And I know for me, like when I see like, oh, okay, this is a potential progressive party, I go, well, I want to root for them. But no matter what your label is, if your party has gotten to a point where you're doing things like this, then you can't root for people like that, because you're no longer the progressive kind of label that you're touting. You're just a populist that is doing whatever you can to stay in power. That's completely different. That's off the fucking rails. So I can get why people are up in arms about this, and they're very active and they're saying no, fuck this shit. Obviously you don't want to get to the point where you're like saying yeah, go do whatever the fuck. And especially it sucks too, because there are people who are peacefully protesting, and I think that that's most likely a majority situation. But the people who want to get rowdy, they want to fucking take it to that level, they're going to do something and they're going to get the most press. They're going to get the most attention, and then everyone gets the blowback. So that can really fucking suck. Excuse me. But yeah, this was something that was kind of building. I didn't initially talk about it, just because I'm not like big in Serbia. I don't know many Serbia things. So, but it was nice to kind of learn about this and see what's going on, and, at least kind of put some attention on it. It's also good to see people saying like, look, man, my vote fucking matters. I'm not going to let you take that shit away from me. I think it's good that people are saying, hey, no, like this isn't going to stop. Let me see here. What else did I really want to pull here? That might be it. I think we're good. Let's move on to the next bit. Also to just kind of say that that adds to like kind of like this feels very sus. The fact that like the Kremlin is really backing Vucic and saying like, hey, actually the West is really involved and they're like the reason that these protests are happening. They're bringing all their liberal shit. I'm like, this doesn't feel very progressive now that Putin is entered the chat. You know what I mean? This feels really not good. But I'm gonna use that as a segue from Reuters. Russia's Navalny tracked down to Polar Wolf prison in the Arctic. So we have found Navalny. That is the good news. The bad news it's seemingly what is like Russian Alcatraz, which is like somehow way worse than Alcatraz. That seems really hard to top, but give it to the Russians to kind of like top us in that regard. Jailed Russian opposition politician Alexei Navalny has been tracked down to a penal colony north of the Arctic Circle. His spokeswoman said on Monday, after supporters lost touch with him for more than 2 weeks. Navalny was tracked down to the IK3 penal colony in Karp in the Yamal-Nenets region, about 1,900 kilometers or 1,200 miles northeast of Moscow, spokeswoman Kira Yarmish said. Navalny's lawyer managed to see him on Monday. So that's good. They were actually able to find him, make contact with him, because, I'm not going to lie to you. When I was reporting saying, like, yeah, he's in the wind, no one knows where he's at, he's supposed to be between one of these two prisons, he's not there, where is he? I'm thinking they just pulled the move on him. They just said, okay, we've made our message with him, we do have elections coming up, and maybe it's just time just to make him disappear. And so it's good that he's turned up into a place. It's just really unfortunate that this is like a really hardcore penal colony. Not that he was living rosy before, but it's crazy that like, oh yeah, no, it gets worse for him. Also a little bit of a sidebar. There was a person who was trying to run for president. She might have been a journalist person or whatever. I know I'm just kind of just shooting this off half cocked, but essentially she was barred. And it's kind of unnecessary for the Kremlin for, Putin to do this. I know he's running for, his reelection. It's a surefire thing. He's going to fucking get it. But it would just make sense that you're going to have people run against you. You have to do that just for the sake of the show. And it's crazy that they're so tight about it. They're like, no. We didn't want you to be that person. So no way. You're going to get banned from electing. And I think the reason they used was she didn't file properly. And for that reason, she was banned. I don't know. They really just put their thing down, flipped it, reversed it on her. So that's unfortunate. But I mean, that's essentially the crime that Navalny was guilty for. Was he was in opposition. He was a strong candidate. And they said, oh, we're going to fucking give you a plutonium fucking appetizer. And he got fucking sick. He was poisoned. And then they're like, okay, well, good. Of course you lived. That's great. Awesome. Glad. And now you're going to go to jail. And he's just been in jail since. And, sadly, he's just kind of, just doing his best he can to survive. And even so, his wife from outside, are still, opposing Putin, opposing the Kremlin. They're doing the best they can. But like I said, it's at least good to find him. It's good that he is not dead. But very unfortunate that he is in this prison, polar wolf prison. That feels like a fucking Metal Gear prison. It feels really bad. It's not good. I'll go ahead and leave it there. Obviously, you can read if you want to get the details. Let's move to CNN from CNN. Yeah, FDA says it seized thousands of units of counterfeit Ozempic. So that's not good. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration warned Thursday that it seized. That it seized thousands of units of counterfeit versions of the type 2 diabetes drug Ozempic from the U.S. drug supply chain, and it's urging suppliers, pharmacies, and patients to use caution. 5 people have gotten sick in connection with the products, but none of those cases have been serious, the FDA says. The FDA warns pharmacies, healthcare systems, wholesalers, and patients to double-check their semaglutide products to make sure they are the real thing. 1 milligram injectable Ozempic products with the lot number NAR0074 and serial number 4308341499057 on the box should not be used. Essentially because they are bogus. They are counterfeit. Down to not just the drug, the needles, all they're saying it's all bad. And really it's important to note about the needles because they're saying hey, we can't verify that these are needles that are safe to use. You know what I mean? Like goddamn, you're trying to fucking work on your weight gain and next thing you know you get some fucking infection. That'd be terrible. Now this is something that's kind of been on the rise. I have been hearing about it. If you've I've mentioned it on the podcast too, but there are people who are, on the Ozempic, trying to get that Ozempic bod, trying to be like the celebrities or what have you. But it has led to a shortage in Ozempic over time. Though those numbers have kind of bounced back. Also with Wegovy, kind of a substitute to kind of help out in that regard, which it's so crazy when you think about Ozempic. It was a drug that was essentially made for type 2 diabetes. But then there was a side effect of you can lose a lot of weight on this drug. So then that became kind of the focus of the drug. So yeah, I mean, it kind of created a market where it's hey, we'll just kind of make this kind of scam version of the drug. It's not actually Ozempic. It's not Wegovy. It's just something that we kind of have made. And maybe it'll do the trick. Maybe it'll work for you. Maybe it might make you really sick and fuck you up. Who knows? Whatever. It's crazy that the market has gotten this flooded and that the demand is just yet still so high. Not to knock anyone who uses Ozempic for weight loss or Wegovy for weight loss. By all means, do your thing. If that is your method, go for it. But I will say Ozempic is crazy. The whole idea of being hey, your appetite is so curbed, you can't eat. You just cannot eat. And I know that that's been a subset segment in podcasts like news and stuff where they've talked about people during the holidays. What do you do? What do you do for Thanksgiving and Christmas time when you literally can have like an appetizer maybe and you're going to be full. And like in some people say, I'll try to, take off of the Ozempic maybe a week or so ahead of time. But the drug is just so powerful, so strong that you really can't. And I don't know. It's a whole other thing. I mean, I feel like I can make a whole podcast just talking about Ozempic and my thoughts on it. But obviously, back to the article, back to the main point, be careful out there. Make sure you verify your shit. Make sure, hopefully, you're going to a pharmacy to get your shit. You're not going to fucking Kevin, the guy who just got the shit right now. You know what I mean? Just be careful. Be mindful. I put the little carton there just for reference in the thumbnail. But yeah, I know they have a number here. I guess I should mention that here. Customers can call Novo Nordisk at 1-800-727-6500 if they have any questions or find fake products. People can also report counterfeit products to their local FDA consumer complaint coordinator or on FDA's website. So there we go. We have one more thing to cover before I let you go. Gonna talk about some movie news. Let's all go to the movies. Let me take a break and then we'll go ahead and get into it. From Cinema... lost my place there. From Cinema Blend. Scream 7 director reveals he's leaving the film after Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega's exit. A dream job that turned into a nightmare. Ooh, spooky. Following the exits of Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega from Scream 7, director Christopher Landon has announced he has stepped down from the horror film too. In a statement regarding the decision, he said his dream job turned into a nightmare, and he explained why it was time to move on from the project. Taking to X, Landon posted a candid statement about why he decided to step away from Scream 7. The director wrote, "I guess now is as good a time as any to announce I formally exited Scream 7 weeks ago. This will disappoint some and delight others. It was a dream job that turned into a nightmare, and my heart did break for everyone involved. Everyone. But it's time to move on. I have nothing more to add to the conversation other than I hope Wes's legacy thrives and lifts above the din of a divided world. What he and Kevin created is something amazing, and I was honored to have the briefest moment basking in their glow." Landon had made it clear that he's devastated for everyone involved, and he reiterated that he meant everyone. This news comes after Melissa Barrera was fired from Scream 7, and Jenna Ortega announced she wouldn't be returning. Barrera was reportedly fired because of comments she made about the current conflict between Hamas and Israel on social media. Following the news that she'd no longer be playing Sam, Landon responded to her firing, writing, this is my statement. There's a heartbreak emoji. Everything sucks. Stop yelling. This was not my decision to make. Okay, so I wanted to talk about this because I had mentioned this so offhand, but this is really just me saying I wanted to like put Melissa Barrera's name out there and like really just give her full flowers, because in a moment that was so hard to do, where that like you can say something and the backlash could literally be your fucking job. She went online and said that shit with her whole fucking chest, and I just said like, oh, that was the person from Scream, and that wasn't fair, that wasn't right. So I was like, yeah, let me go ahead and say her whole fucking name. And she said it in defense of Palestine. You know what I mean? Which is something that's so hard to fucking do. And I feel like if you took the Amy Schumer route, being like, well, yeah, I mean, I'm a Zionist. I can say whatever the fuck I want. And you say it, and you crawl into people's DMs and be vile and mean. You can keep whatever job, project, talent, agency, whatever. No one's gonna fucking come for you. But for Barrera, she put her shit out there. She lost her fucking job. And then she even was like, because I think there was backlash and shit from the studio that fired her. She doubled down. She's like, no, I'm good. I'm fucking good on that shit. I'm not gonna apologize or anything like that. With Ortega, she quit the project immediately after. There are some cited reasons. After Barrera's departure, Jenna Ortega left Scream 7. It was later reported that the Wednesday star allegedly decided not to move forward with the upcoming horror movie because of her shooting schedules for the aforementioned Netflix series and Beetlejuice 2, as well as disagreements over her paycheck. So, whether or not with Barrera that was the straw that broke the camera's back, whether she did it in solidarity, I don't really care. Good. I'm glad to see it. Awesome. As for Landon, I don't really fucking care. I don't really know this guy. If I'm gonna keep it a fucking buck with you, I don't give a fuck about horror movies. I like actually just saw Scream for the first time this year, and it was like still in parts, like, and I've seen like maybe even less of Scream 2. I don't really fucking care. I'm not a spooky guy, but I'm all for people standing up for what's fucking right and doing what's fucking right. I will say with this Landon guy, it seemed like he just really didn't want to catch any heat. And then he kind of realized that, oh, whether I stay or I go, this is a mess and it's not really sustainable. So I'm off the fucking project. Good for him realizing that the getting was good. I wish he would, cut off all the emojis and, oh, stop yelling. Like, you can just stand on your fucking shit and say, hey, I didn't have anything to do with this shit. And then say, oh, okay, this is also isn't for me. Or you could say, oh, I see why Barrera is off this project. You should be able to at least have your opinion and say it out loud. There shouldn't be anything wrong with that. Especially how she did it. It's not like she was being fucking anti-Semitic. I mean, by all means, if you want to go through that shit and do your own fucking lore search on that, be my guest. But, yeah, like, you should be allowed to say your shit and no one should come for your goddamn job. But hey, that is the times we are living in. And, on that note, I'm gonna leave it there. But yeah, season's greetings to you. Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. Yeah, Feliz Navidad, all that good shit. If you'd like to give me a gift in a monetary fiscal sense, you can. There's a way. Patreon.com/IsaiahNews. You become a newsie today. I shout you out at the top of the month. Plug a project if you'd like. Free ways to hit me up, isaiahnews1@gmail.com. And let's see here. All the socials, you know where to find me. And then YouTube. Hopefully you're subscribed. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that bell. Hit that good. All those good things. Hit the comments. Yeah. That always helps out. Would you kindly? But yeah, hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.